Welcome to Awakening Potential Podcast, your gateway to the extraordinary. Today, we're featuring Sherri Leopold, who is mastered turning everyday moments into milestones of wisdom. As Sherri is a CEO of Option Creators, a 26 plus network marketing veteran, a mentor, a leader in Stop Self-Bullying movement. Oh, that's awesome. And she's the founder of the Wow Warrior platform, a publishing of the Wow Warrior magazine, which is amazing, by the way. And she's the host of two TV shows, Wow Warrior and Wow, Look Who's Here, and a 12-time best-selling author. How amazing. Sherri embodies the transformation from ordinary to extraordinary, making her the perfect guide for today's exploration. Join us as we delve into her transformational journey and glean insights to elevate your own life possibility. Let's embark in enlightening the journey together, and a warm welcome to Sherri Leopold. Welcome, welcome.
Oh, thank you so much, Karen. It's such an honor to be here. I adore you, so it is truly my honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, the feeling's mutual. I hope you know that. If not, I'm telling you, I adore you as well. I love what you're up to. Oh my gosh. Tell us a little bit about how you started your journey.
Well, I think it kind of goes way back to when I was a child, and I grew up in a home with domestic violence, and that I think kind of molded some parts of me, in that I saw my mother being in a position of feeling powerless, right? And the odd thing to me, even as a child, I think I she was so strong in everything else. She was like had such a good work ethic and was, good at everything. Like she could figure anything out. If something was broke, she would figure out how to fix it. Like she was just a master at so many things, but not a master at that. And that was always perplexing to me as a child. It was quite difficult seeing her in that situation. I was not abused in any way, but it was and was really never afraid that that was going to be me. But there's something that, changes, I think, inside you when you see that woman that, is your person, right? That is not in that strong spot. And, you know, I often get people sometimes that say, "Oh, I'm so sorry you had to go through that." But, Karen, I'm actually not sorry at all about that. I know it sounds weird, but it actually has helped create the really incredible, strong woman that I am because I saw her make, the best choice she could at the time with what she knew. And it took me till adulthood till I realized that she thought she was doing what was best for us kids and staying in it because of the two, incomes and things like that. And there was probably other reasons, but she thought she was providing the best way she could. So, and I understand that, like, right, as an adult, we do the best we can with what we know at the time. And when you know better, you do better, right? And she did eventually get out of that relationship, said, "I'm not taking this," which was also another impactful learning lesson for me is that it doesn't matter time-wise. What it matters is when you put your foot down and you stand up and stand out as that unrepeatable miracle that you are and say, "I am worthy of more."
Absolutely, absolutely. It's so interesting you say that because my mother she wasn't physically abused, but she was mentally abused. And there were different levels of
Yeah.
abuse. And again, like yourself, being the observer looking out, I didn't get it until I got it. But it also, I don't have regrets because, like you as well, it created, something to step into something bigger than I knew myself to be and led me to do what I do today. And for yourself, I'm asserting, and I don't want to assume anything, that that's pretty much what, shaped you into who you are and what you're doing today.
Absolutely. And you know what? The other thing, it's like I would call it a side benefit, is that, I mean, my father, my biological father, was probably one of the most wonderful humans on the planet. So I knew what this looked like here, and I knew what this looked like over here. And I have to say, no shade to my stepfather, because he is an actual incredible man. He was an alcoholic. It was when he did that. So it was very situational. So that was probably confusing as a child as well. However, it did teach me a lot about what to look for me, for a partner. I'll be married 37 years this
Oh,
year,
awesome.
and I knew exactly what I was looking for. I knew exactly what I wouldn't tolerate or put up with. And within I laugh thinking about it, but like the first like 2 or 3 weeks of our relationship, I had a very strong conversation saying that this is a deal breaker for me if this happens, if this is like this, and it's never been an issue. Like, and it was related to alcohol and things like that. And I was just like, I'm out if that's what this is. Because that I knew from what I grew up in, that there
Okay.
were boundaries, and that taught me that. Like, I'm grateful for that. Like, that was not going to be my life. And,
Right.
so I learned that from that situation as well. So always, blessings in the lessons, and, I took from it what I needed, and like, I'm blessed. I have the most wonderful partner I could ever ask for, so.
That's, that's awesome. So what's the secret to keeping it going?
I think, it's doing things together. Like this morning, I was getting ready and he said, "I think we should go on a trip." I said,
Mhm.
"Okay." So he's like, "Do you want to go to Europe, or do you want to go on?" I mean, he was just throwing things out, and I'm like, "I don't care where we're going. My answer is yes." Like,
I
it's
love
kinda
that.
like it's
Yeah.
it's just that element of surprise, and the desire to continue to do things together. I mean, like, in relationships, I think one of the things with children that I've always given, it's because I got it from, I don't even know her name. She lived across the way, and we had a brand new baby, a week old, and she said, "I'm gonna give you some advice." And I'm like, "Okay." And she said, "Always have a date night." She said, "Always make sure at least once a week, or at least a couple times a month, you go out with your husband, because, or your, partner, because you are most important, as a couple together." And she said, "If you don't, you'll turn around years later and you won't know each other."
Don't know each other exactly. I lived that truth for so many years. I wish I had somebody tell me more, but that just made sense to me. I remember telling my children, like, we have Daddy and I have special time, and we would have our date night. And you and I have, we have special time, and you and I have special time. So I made a point of like everybody getting a piece of me. It pulled me in
Yes,
different directions. It kept it going as long as it kept it going. Sadly, it didn't work out because I can't compete with alcohol and I'm not willing to. So, but like you, it
boundaries,
just made me
boundaries.
realize, what I want as opposed to what I don't.
Yes. Absolutely. And I think all of those things, they shape you as you go along. And, really all of the things that we've talked about have really, um, they've all poured into all the things that I do today. They've shaped what I do today. Even relationships with, it's colored the relationships and how I connect with people today. I really want to connect on that heart level,
Yeah,
which, and really, surround myself with people who love on other people. That's that's
oh,
very important, to me as a person. And I just feel so blessed. I have the most incredible network of friends,
mhm.
family. I just, sometimes I wonder, like, pinch myself. I'm like, and I know it's not necessarily luck, but I feel lucky, for it.
Well,
So
well, that's what you attract, right? We attract who we project ourselves to be. And you are so heart-centered, Sherry, that I just was really drawn to you as well. And you've connected me with some really, really, really amazing people. But before we even get into that, and I'm grateful, by the way, thank you. Before we even get into that, like what took you into doing what you're doing now? I mean, obviously an incredible networker, an author. You've got so much going on, and now you've got Wow magazine, which is just like what an incredible journey. That's on my bucket list, by the way.
Awesome.
Just saying.
We're gonna make that happen. So it's interesting because like things have sort of evolved as things always do, right? I originally like way back, 26 years ago when I started in network marketing, one of the things I loved about it was I always did a product. I've always been involved with a product that I love, but actually the thing that I really loved was the people. Way back in the day when we did home parties and stuff, I loved the people. Like I loved
Yes,
having the gathering together, and the people. So that kind of and getting to meet new people and different kinds of people and go different places and
right.
all that stuff sort of evolved into I'm such a people person, but I've always in high school I was a cheerleader as well. And I always say I am the proverbial cheerleader. Like I do that for people. That is actually a joy for me. And
Mhm.
so when something I've realized over just the last couple years, and I actually wrote it about it in the last book that I was in, Finding Your Purpose, was I actually realized that my legacy, Karen, is actually helping other people with their legacy. So, and typically with the
Okay.
Wow Warrior platform, it's women, women of worth, right? Like, and my tagline is like helping you go farther, faster. Like, I want to do everything I can
Yeah.
to help you go farther, faster with the options and the platform that I have. That makes me happy. Like, I feel like I'm fulfilling my purpose if I help you.
I love that. And for the listening audience, if you will, Sherry, you talked about legacy. w- Uh, some people don't even realize what a legacy is, or they don't think about it, or put anything into it. I mean, I certainly, my first book was as my legacy, because I couldn't talk to my kids. They didn't want to hear mom. It's mom talking again. And I thought, I'm going to put this book out there just so people know who Karen is. And at least I had my kids, if they decide to read it, they'll sort of have a feel for who I am. But talk a little about legacy, if you would, and the importance of it and why. I don't even know that it's a why question, but why wow warriors?
Well, I think it's probably circles back to what we started the conversation with when I was talking about my mom. My mom was such an incredible woman. She was very strong, but had difficulty in that one area. And so but I still looked at her as one of the most powerful women I've ever known, and I think it circles back to wanting to shine a light on those women
Mhm.
who in my definition of a wow warrior, a woman of worth warrior, is that it is somebody who is creating their own history. They're writing their own history. So, something I like to ask is 100 years from now, what would somebody say about Karen Rudolph? Like, this is what we're doing in our daily life as we are executing the things that we were put here for. What
Yes.
is the things that people will be saying about you as a human being in the time that you were here on planet Earth? That is what legacy is to me. The imprint, the people you touch, the stories you leave, the books that you write, the courses that you leave, the podcasts that you leave here with your voice forever on them. Those are all parts, little pieces of your legacy that show who you were and who you are today. But it's an intentional thing. That's
Ex-
the thing I think about a legacy when you're intentionally building your legacy. It is something that you do on purpose. And
Exactly.
my purpose is, really to help other people shine. If I wanted people to say anything about me, it was like she was always helping others.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. All of your, by the way, all of your information and contact will be in the show notes for sure. Uh, but if somebody wanted to reach out and hear more from you, like what's the best contact for you? Now's as good a time as any to just throw something out there.
Absolutely. They can always find what I'm doing at sherrileopold.com. It's SherriLeopold.com. And you can connect with me on there. You can set up a time to talk with me. I like to say, like, my corporation's called Option Creators, Karen, and I have it that because I don't know what option I'm going to be able to offer to serve you, but that's what the connection call is for. It's like, what do I have, or how can I personally serve you with what I have? And that's why I love doing connection calls in the first place, because I want to understand what is it that I can do for you or
Yeah.
connect you to.
That's why I think I love you so much because you've got such a servant heart and like a giver, and like attracts like. So that's who I am for sure as well. And I love other people like that because it's like you want to lift each other. You can't help but lift each other in this space. And there's a lot of freedom and peace in that for me at least. So, and I've met
Absolutely.
others.
I like to I'm some very visual learner, so I always say, if you want to know like what that legacy means to me, I always say it's like if you and I were at the lake and you go run off the dock and jump into the lake and do a cannonball, you'll have the ripples, from your jump. But if I run off the dock with you arm in arm and we both do a cannonball, we'll have a much bigger splash and a much bigger ripple.
Love
And
that.
that's the visual of what my legacy is. It's like the name of my story in Finding Your Purpose was "Let's do a cannonball together."
Oh, I
Like,
love that.
because like that's what I want to do. And that's what I feel like we're doing right here, Karen. It's
Yeah.
just making the ripple bigger.
Making the ripple bigger. Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm all about the ripple effect, including the butterfly effect, which is the same thing that I just like butterflies so much. So tell us more about Sherri.
Oh gosh, married, 3 kids, 3 grandkids as of the moment. May end up with more.
Congratulations.
Uh, just, feel incredibly blessed in that way. I do have a degree in social services. I went about halfway through my master's in counseling and then kids. And, honestly, I feel like I get to do a lot of what I probably would have been doing anyway, because it's, counseling is peopling. So
Exactly.
I do a lot of that anyway, but,
Love it.
I love, doing the magazine and highlighting powerful women. I love having the part is the Wow Warrior, honorees, that we honor powerful women such as yourself, which you're an honoree for 2024 and well
Oh, thank
deserved.
you. Thank you. Yeah,
And it
appreciate
is
that.
those women who stand up and stand out as that unrepeatable miracle, but they do have that servant heart. They are writing their own history, and they are always willing to lend a hand to another woman and
Yeah,
understand that they are here to impact and inspire with their journey. And it is an award that you have to be willing to give yourself. And that is a big component. I don't talk about it a lot, but it is a very important part of that. And is the magazine. These are, mostly women who are contributing to the magazine, and it's the same heart space. They have to know their worth and that they're worthy of submitting an article, they're worthy of being in a magazine or on the cover, or, you know, or on the Wow Warrior show. They know their worth. That's one thing. One thing about them immediately upon seeing them. They
yeah.
know their worth.
Yeah, it's so interesting you say that because I don't know where the listening audience is going to come from or who's listening, who needs to hear this message today, because I believe there is never any coincidences. And our conversation has taken me back to the day when I was married many years ago. And I remember being very subservient back then. Like I wasn't who I am today. I wouldn't even look you in the eye back in the day. And I wish I had this kind of knowledge back then. But for somebody who's starting off in that space of not feeling their self-worth or their self-empowered power, for lack of better, um, where would you tell them to start?
I actually probably would tell them to start in the mirror. I know it sounds funny, but
Not at all. That's how
I
I
think
started.
you have to, as I say, stand up and stand out as that
Yeah,
unrepeatable miracle. When I say that, I'm not necessarily talking about uh a religious miracle. What I'm
yeah,
talking about is the miracle in being a one of a kind, never before, like, amazing thing, like the definition of that word.
right.
And the reality is, I say it's very spiritual probably for me, but it doesn't have to be because it is actually also scientific, Karen. Out of the
Absolutely.
8 billion people on the planet, your DNA is not repeated anywhere.
Mm,
That in it of itself is qualifies you as a miracle. That means nobody can think like you, nobody can be like you, nobody can look exactly like you. It doesn't matter even if you went to the same exact school, got the same exact grades, and you were asked a question, you would not deliver the same answer.
yeah,
Nobody can be you, and that's the place to start when you're wondering about your worth. You were made as that complete snowflake. That's what I like to say it. Even though all the snowflakes look the same when the snow is falling, not
yeah,
one of them is the same. And it would take, I believe it's 50 billion people before your DNA sequence could be repeated. You'd never be here. So it will never happen. There will never be another you. You are an unrepeatable miracle. And that's the start, is understanding I
yes,
don't care if my nose is crooked, I'm overweight, I'm this, I'm that, whatever we beat ourselves up with, none of
yeah.
it matters because it doesn't matter because you are a unique human being.
Love that. Absolutely. I always tell people you're whole, complete, perfect right here, right now. Own it.
100%.
Own it. It
Yep.
took me a while to start owning my own, but once I did, it was like one thing after the other just became, and things fell into place. And now I can't even imagine what it would have been like continuing that journey. And I don't even recognize myself today, and I just love who I've become as a result of it. I'm sure to a degree the same thing with you because we have a journey for whatever purpose, wherever it takes us, there's always a silver lining.
Oh,
And
100%. Even 10 years ago, I'm thinking I'm very different as a person even than 10 years ago.
yeah,
I've grown so much. And part of it is just a massively huge acceptance of myself as I am. And really stepping into that thing I just talked about is knowing that no matter what I look like, how I show up or whatever, I am uniquely me, right? I'm like, that it's me. It doesn't matter what I look like on the outside either. It's how I was made on the inside and who
absolutely.
I am, if you want to say in my soul, I guess, if you will, is unique, right?
Absolutely. And you are beautiful inside and out. And I'm so honored and excited, first off, to have you here. And secondly, I call you friend. Call you friend.
Yes,
So I'm very
absolutely.
grateful for the connection. And you've just been such a shining light and watching in the short time I've known you, watching you like really step into your power. And it just, so what's next? What's next for you?
Oh goodness. You know what? I actually don't know that I'm going to do anything much different than what I'm doing, but what I've found is what I am doing in the WoW Warrior platform is sort of exponentially expanding and in a way that is really beautiful. So I'm just sort of being in the moment present with that. Um I think my if I had to have a goal with that is, we do have, I think, women represented, and I haven't counted with all the magazine writers too, but probably at least 6 or 8 countries. I would like to expand out globally and maybe even, have, the WoW Warrior, be, have different geographical areas. That would be maybe an expanse that I would do, like, the Germany version, whatever, because there's so many amazing women. And I want to be here long enough to shine a light on as many as I can.
Absolutely. And you do it so well and with such heart. What, what's, f- what's the most valuable lesson that you've learned thus far that you can shed some light on and lift others who are listening?
I think that's a great question. I think I would say that, probably one of the things I've learned, and it's been probably in the last 3 or 4 years, is truly things do not have to be good or bad. They
Mm.
can just be. We do not have to assign some giant emotional reaction to things. And that's probably been one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, in recent times, is that I can look at a situation and choose just, I don't have to react to that. I don't have to have some, are you kidding me kind of thing. I'm not required to have that. And, I think we get in these situations where we get in those, "Oh, no," or "Did you see?" You're like, I don't have to do any of that. So I just been able to sort of let all that kind of energy spent go, which has allowed a lot bigger space for just joy. Because I can just
Absolutely.
let it be. It doesn't have to be good or bad. It can just be a fact.
Exactly. I love it. I love it because, it's a choice, right? So
Choices create change. When you change your choices change. One
change, yeah.
one of my famous quotes.
It's what I have one very similar, and actually that's the quote that took me globally. I had to really step into it and own it and believe in it. And it was like, it's so true. So,
Mhm.
any last parting words you'd like to shed?
I
Any
think,
light?
the thing I would like to make sure that everyone understands listening is that you are an unrepeatable miracle exactly as you are, no qualifiers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sherry, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for the contribution today. It's been such a pleasure. Um, thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much. It's such an honor to be in your presence, Karen, and always just an energy, warm fuzzy. Thank you.
Thank you. Just being me, but I appreciate that so greatly. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to our listening audience, thank you for joining us on the Awakening Potential podcast. As you step back into the world, your world, remember that the bridge from ordinary to extraordinary is built in small steps of change and big leaps of faith. So let's take today's insights from Sherry. Let it be a guiding light to navigate on your journey. And until next time, continue to awaken your potential and illuminate the extraordinary within because you've already got it. So stay inspired.